If you go and see any big agency in US or in UK, they most probably will have people working from India in a contractual role. A Webflow is the bottleneck. I have tried the MCP, but you usually end up exhausting all those credits and it's still not up to the mark. All the headless CMS which we have in the market right now, all of them are developer focused. None of them are marketer focused.
Okay, Himanshu. So India is known for its tech sector and incredibly talented people. But if I were to ask any Webflow person to name a single Webflow agency from India, they would probably struggle to do so. Why do you think that is, and what can we do about it?
Yeah. So I think it is not a talent problem. It is mostly like marketing issue. If you go and see any big company or any big agency globally in US or in UK, they most probably will have like people working from India in a contractual role or in a subcontractual role, or they might be white labeling their work. Most of them are doing white label work, so they never come as the original creator of the project or the site, and usually those big companies in US and UK take those credits, and whereas if you see, the real hard work was done by someone sitting in India, and I think that's totally fair because they have signed up for this, and both the parties have mutually agreed for this. Personally, if you ask me about my situation, I have stopped doing white label work for like past 2 years. And when I was a freelancer, I did a couple of gigs, but usually I like to do it in a more partnership and mutual way. So maybe this is the reason why. And I think even in India, we have like really some of the really good agencies, but it's just that they are not marketing properly. I think even from my side, I feel like we should market a lot, and I think I should just invest more in marketing. I should do more of this podcast and try to share the name around the world. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there's motivation to go abroad? I know that India is a huge country and there's probably a lot to do within the Indian market, but is there a motivation to grow overseas or over the borders?
Definitely. I think if you ask me, I am myself very motivated to go globally. If you ask me how many clients do I have from India and how many do I have from US, so the US side will be more in the number. And I'm aiming for more US and UK clients because definitely the pay is great. The pay is really good and the culture is really good. And I actually want to do work with some of the really big companies and famous company. We recently even did work with Amazon US team, with the signage team. And it was really great project, and it was a great experience as well with working with a very big logo and a crazy cool team. So I think definitely it is in the goal for every Indian to work globally.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, before we dive any deeper, we have to do little intros. So my name is Janne Parri, and you are listening to Webflow and Friends podcast. My guest today is Himanshu Sahu, the founder and CEO of Flowtrix. So Flowtrix is relatively young agency, but it became Webflow partner within a year of funding. Now you guys are a premium enterprise partner, which means that you have reached the highest tier there is. You were also already nominated for the Webflow Partner Agency of the Year in 2025, which is totally cool. And your team includes more than 10 people already. You have delivered a bunch of awesome projects through industries, through continents. Your growth has been rapid and inspiring. But before we talk about that, I want to straight up ask you, who is Himanshu Sahu and how did you end up running a Webflow agency from Bengaluru?
So Himanshu Sahu is just a chill guy sitting in India. He has a lot of dreams. So definitely when I was starting my journey, I started as a Webflow developer. And I worked with few companies in freelancing, did freelancing. Like I also worked with companies in US, did freelancing there as well. And eventually one day I decided to take a full design plus development project. I partnered with one of my friend and the project went really good. And I thought that, okay, this is a good opportunity. And then I formed the name Flowtrix and then the whole company and all. Eventually, then the journey began of doing more projects, one project after another. I don't know how, by God grace, everything just started to fall upon. And I think one project after another, someone referred to me, someone referred to me here. And then eventually Flowtrix is like right now doing multiple projects across continents. And we have also been nominated as the top Webflow partner last year.
Yeah, that is so cool. But I have to double down on the sales and the projects. You mentioned that projects just came in one after another, but it is never that simple. How did you
Definitely.
find those first projects, and like how did you find those international projects?
So I think the first project was like I just did a post on a LinkedIn that hey, I'm looking for a gig, and somehow a person reached out to me, and that's how I got my first project. And then eventually, I started sharing my work. Like I just did dummy work and sharing my work with communities in WhatsApp and in Slack and in Discord as well. So I got few projects. I did some freelancing, and once my portfolio was built, right, people started discovering me through Google, and I mean by through SEO. So this is how I think I got my initial projects, and of course referrals. Referrals played a big game, and specifically, I think I am very lucky. I did some really good job in terms of making websites and helping teams. So those referrals were really, really solid. And usually those referral leads are big and very, very good logos.
Oh yeah, totally. And you mentioned already the Amazon project. What was like the first enterprise client for you guys, and how did you land that?
So before Amazon, actually, we got earlier another big company. It's called Wayground. Earlier, it was called as Squeezies. So we had to do the entire rebranding for them in terms of the migration. So it was an enterprise project. So I will say the first enterprise project was Wayground, and then eventually we got Amazon. So it was really different, I will say, this time because things were very serious. People like because there were multiple stakeholders, there were multiple decision makers, multiple POCs. So this time I cannot miss the deadline. I cannot miss anything. Everything has to be communicated. The data has to be stored very, I will say, in a very secured manner. You cannot share anything. Everything has to be signed off first from the decision maker, and then you will get to the main work. So I think things were very serious this time, but it's again very fun and it's very motivating as well because you are getting paid very well. You know that this will bring you more clients as well, and it will also boost your confidence. So I think the major part was boosting my confidence. I used to work with mid-sized companies, and then working with a big logo, it boosted me and my entire team's confidence completely that we can
For
also pull this
sure.
off.
Yeah. Those enterprise projects are so interesting. I do not have experience with those, but I hear the same that you mentioned, that the responsibilities and the liabilities are like on another level. You like have to deliver, and if something goes wrong, it's your ass that is on the line. But what about Flowtrix and your responsibilities? I know that when you grow your team and your company, your responsibilities usually change. So how much Webflow work do you get to do nowadays, or do you just have to manage projects and people?
I think very less. I think I rarely open Webflow only to fix some complex bugs. I usually like to fix logical bugs if there is any custom code issue or if there is any uh, integration. I like to do that right now. But if you ask me how much do I use Webflow for my client projects, none. And I also feel like my knowledge is a bit outdated as well in terms of building because nowadays my developers are building using components. They're using Lumos plus client first plus mask, so many different style guides, and we have like mixed all of them to create our own style guide. And
That's cool.
so many cool stuff these guys are doing in my development team. And nowadays I just go and just learn from them. And if you ask my responsibilities in Flowtrix right now is primarily hiring and sales because this is something every founder will relate, and you have to hire really really good talent. We have like right now we have like a team of 15 people plus 5 to 6 extra contractors, but we are trying to scale this team specifically in terms of design because I feel developers, there is a good amount of connections. I know I can either hire them full time or I can either subcontract them as well. But in terms of designers, I prefer to hire them full time. I don't like hiring designers for contractual role because you know right how design projects are. There are so many endless revisions. If I go in the market and just hire a designer, and if we end up having so many revisions. The bill will be more than the client. Then I'm billing to the clients. This is the situation. Really, I actually faced this situation once. That from that on, I am now hiring full time designers. It's a very hard job to hire good designers, good managers, and also I'm trying to now finally scale my sales team because the entire sales is completely dependent on me. So I'm trying to build a playbook and trying to bring some sales
Mm.
folks so that they can start selling on behalf of me. At least they can start doing the discovery calls and all. So that's what I'm trying to build right now, a team
Yeah.
and some sales calls.
Yeah, I have for long been theorizing. This is just theory for me because I do not have the experience, but I kind of see the same thing that development is quite easy to even outsource, but the design is hard because there's so much flexibility and opinions and so on. And if you want to get to a good level on design, you really like have to practice. Nowadays, well, there's AI, and it might be more useful for the developers, don't you think?
Yeah, I think in terms of design, you cannot just pick a normal designer. You have to pick a designer who has expertise on this particular domain, who would understand how to do B2B design because we mostly do B2B design and sometimes agency work or real estate work, but mostly 99% of our work is B2B work and not every designer gets it. So you need someone who has already worked in this domain and who understand conversion optimization, who understand how to share the style guide with the developer. So dev handoff is also very important. So these few small things you have to spot in a designer and then finally you can hire them or partner with them.
Yeah, totally. But hey, let's talk about sales more because you are doing the sales playbook and you are trying to build a sales team. What does your sales process look like right now? And maybe if you have some goals for it, what do you want it to look like?
Definitely. So I was a Webflow developer. I have never done any MBA or I have never done any big course for sales. So for me, it was like just going in the conversation and sharing my stuff and closing the deal. But from past few months, I have changed that because now I'm trying to bring more high ticket clients. And for high ticket clients or enterprise clients, sales is just not one single call. It's like a full playbook you have to follow. At least you have to follow some steps, which is very serious. And initially, when someone books a call, for example, through my website, I will try to do before the discovery call, I will try to do research about the client. I have actually created an AI automation, which will give me all the details about the client, recent news, if they are raising any funds, and also what's the client company valuation, how much revenue they are making, and also about the person. Like, I will also like to know whom I'm going to speak with, right? So these are the few steps I do before the call. I just research about the company and the person I'm talking about. Second is that once we go in the discovery call, I specifically don't try to sell too much. I try to hear. I used to do the reverse earlier, but nowadays I have changed the strategy. I try to go in the call, try to understand their pain points, and I will try to find one or two pain points, and then I will double down on that pain point, and I will not try to distract with any other conversation, and I will try to validate the pain point from the person, and I will try to make him say the pain again and again and again so that he eventually realizes that this is the pain. And this is a very smart technique I'm using. And honestly, I'm learning all of this through some books and some quick courses I have subscribed to. And once I have like understood their pain point and their requirements very clearly in the discovery call, I will try to schedule another meeting. On that meeting, I will try to pitch myself. So, for example, today I'm taking a call. I will try to schedule another meeting maybe on Thursday or Friday after 2 days. And then on that call, I will go prepared with all the pain points. And on that call as well, I will try to share my work, share my entire process. And then eventually, I will try to share a ballpark figure on how much this might cost you. And sometimes there are deals which are very complex, and specifically in enterprise. So you have to co-author the deal with the person you are in contact. For example, in our situation, usually the marketing manager or the VP of marketing or the CMO, these are the person who will be taking the decision, right? So I have to figure out my champion and then try to understand the deal with him and try to create the deal with him. The more deep I will go inside their team and try to share my opinions and try to figure out the entire scope of work with them, the more the chances of the deal will close with us. So I think
Yeah.
that's the strategy I have followed in terms of high ticket clients, and it is working very well. I'm still learning. I'll be honest with you. I still get a lot of rejections, but there are some deals which I have closed because of these techniques, and I believe this is something. If I was a new developer in the market, or if I was a new agency owner, I will definitely share these tips with him. That please research, do a discovery call, try to get him on another call, try to co-author the deal with him, try to create a entire scope of work with the marketing manager or whoever the champion is, and then eventually share your prices. So this way, definitely you will succeed much better in terms of sales.
Yeah, I believe sales is one of those things that you are never ready. You will always be learning and so on. But how do you get the people on the first call? Like, I know that you can book a call from your website, but do you drive traffic to your website, or do you have some active tactics for that?
Yeah. So earlier, I think last year was very good with Webflow exports. So we were getting a lot of leads in from Webflow exports page. I mean the partner page, and it was really good. Like I was getting like every week 5 or 6 leads, and I will most probably convert 3 or 4 leads every month at least. But eventually the lead quality got decreased, and I was like wondering what happened. And eventually, at this point, I'm not getting any good leads from past 8 months. Even though I am the only design agency in India who has like the enterprise badge, still I'm not getting good leads. And I think it might be the reason because I got the badge. I just don't know what is the reason because of that. But I realized this problem very early, and then I started working on it, and I started finding a solution for this. So what I did is that I doubled down on SEO. I created a lot of programmatic SEO pages. I created a lot of comparison pages. I updated the copy using the right keywords. I hired a marketing person and onboarded an SEO person as well who is writing my blogs. Because of this, initially I didn't show any growth, but eventually I started getting some leads to the website, and it started working for me. And at this point, every week we are getting some really solid qualified leads from our website, and not only from the website but from GPT as well. So I feel like I have somehow cracked the SEO formula in my industry, at least in the Webflow industry, and it's working very well for me. If anyone wants to know how I'm doing it, please go and study my website. I know the copy is not the best, but the structure, the information architecture I have set up, it's very good. And you should definitely try to do that as well for your website. You will definitely start getting some inbound leads. And inbound leads are the best way to get leads because those leads have more chances to close. At this point, I have never done outbound. I'm trying to figure out and build a sales team to do outbound. But as of till date now, it's been 5 years. I have never done any outbound. I have never gone and asked someone to do you need a website or not, something like that. Although I'm not very proud of it, but because inbound has been really grateful for me, I'm really grateful for inbound leads. That's why I'm very busy with those projects. But definitely, outbound is something which I will like to do in future.
Yeah, totally. The outbound is a totally different game, and obviously it's great if you get those inbound leads and get to grow with those. But it would be nice to have some sort of like a machine that when you put X amount of effort, you get Y amount of results. That would be awesome. But one specific detail that I saw on your page relating to your SEO efforts was the buttons that say that ask whichever LLM about Flowtrix, and then it opens, let's say, ChatGPT or Perplexity or any other LLM. So have you found that those work? And would you recommend people to do the same for their websites?
So actually, I added that recently. I don't have too much data about that, but what it does is that if someone clicks on that, it will feed this information to GPT. GPT, and the more people do it, the more GPT will understand about my company. The more GPT will crawl my website to understand about me. So I just want to increase the friction where people are trying to search Flowtrix in GPT or Claude. That was the only purpose. And I think it's working very well because if you search in GPT, sometimes my name pops up, like my company names pops out very well. Few of my leads are from GPT and Claude as well. So I think it's somehow working. I know I need to do much better on terms of AI optimization, but This is so far the honest results
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this button.
that's interesting, and I might do the same for me. The one thing that everybody is thinking is that will the AI represent your company in a somewhat truthful manner, meaning that will it get the facts right? So do you know or have you tested that OpenAI or ChatGPT gives the right answers when someone asks about Flowtrix?
I think it is giving almost 99% accurate answers, because there is a reason why it is giving those accurate answers, because I have optimized for it. I have used the same description in every blog I'm writing, in every comparison page I'm writing, and I have tried to repeat this same paragraph again and again. And most importantly, I have added this paragraph in my schema as well. So as you know, schema markup, we also have an app for that. But this schema markup, we have added all these descriptions, and AI is crawling this text again and again. And the more it crawls again and again, the more it will make the description, the more description that this is the final description of this company, and it will show up to the users in that way. So far it is giving correct and accurate answers.
That is nice. That is nice. And I'm wondering, do you offer this, well, SEO and AEO or AI optimization services to clients? And what do you do if client like buys one of those services?
So initially, I was very scared from the word SEO. I used to always like delegate it to someone else. But from the last 8 to 9 months, I have been doing SEO for myself, for my own website. And since it's working very well for me, so I have figured out some strategies. I have figured out all the glossary of words which this industry uses. And since I'm also working with so many marketing managers and also SEO teams, so I have picked up all those insights and learnings, and I have tried to do it for a few of my clients, and it's working very well. So yes, we recently have added SEO and AEO as a service, and we are trying to do it for few clients. I know we don't have too many clients for whom we are doing it, and we don't even represent as an SEO first agency, but it is one of our services, because I want to become a full stack website agency so that everything gets covered into this.
Yeah, yeah, I totally feel the feel the fear because the CO AEO field is so like vague. You kind of feel like some sort of sorcerer looking at a crystal ball and trying to figure out what is going on, and then you kind of have to sell the results to the client. And yeah, it's tough, but obviously if you build the website, you are kind of the website guy and it relates to websites, so you kind of want to have the service there too. Yeah, that's something.
Definitely. Are you like doing some SEO in your personal portfolio?
For myself, yeah, I have a history that my site, my like Finnish language site did very well a couple of years back. It's probably doing quite well still. And because of that, I built my freelance business quite easily. I didn't have to do any active sales. I just wrote a couple of blog posts in Finnish, and then I got to the first places of Google. Now I haven't done too much stuff on that side. My English side is under construction. For some reason, the client work always gets first, and it's been
Definitely.
a long time coming. But I'm definitely thinking that I will do more content, like more written content and optimized content regarding to the podcast and maybe some other stuff too. But there's so much to do, like all the articles, all the transcripts, all the clips nowadays, short form content, video content, all the things. So yeah, it's
I
tough.
do you have the site in localize, like do you have a site in different localization?
Actually, I have two different domains, so kind of two different
Oh, okay,
sites. But I'm
got it.
thinking that I might change that so that it would be just one domain, or maybe even do some sort of like reverse proxy. Like it would be one Webflow project using localization, but it would use like two total different domains with different endings. So that might be an interesting thing to do,
Definitely. I think
to
you should
try
do
out.
that. We should do that. We should keep one single domain, and maybe you can just subscribe to Webflow localization or Weekload, something like that, to translate those
Yeah.
content.
Yeah. How about your side? Do you have multiple language versions of Flowtrix site?
No, I think we are currently in English, and I think I'm not going to add any localization. And like, I don't have any plans to add any localization so far right now. So English will be our primary language for now.
Yeah. But I believe that your clients do sometimes ask that, so you kind of
Yeah,
do that
definitely.
for your clients.
Yes, definitely.
And I
We have used actually multiple tools. Sometimes Webflow localization, sometimes Webflow enterprise localization, sometimes vCloud. And there is one more name I'm not remembering right now, but also it is used for enterprise localization. So we're definitely, it's a bit challenging to do these things because the AI translation is so bad. So you have to overwrite all those translation with correct copy, double check everything. And sometimes clients also ask to change the images, graphics and text of the images has to be replaced and override as well.
yeah.
So it is a bit challenging, but definitely something which helps you a lot in SEO.
Oh, totally, totally. People who have experienced like the translation of a website know that there's a lot of things. In theory, it's quite simple, but there's a lot of like edge cases that you might bump into. But what is your like favorite way to do that? Do you, if you get to decide, do you always pick Webflow localization? Is that the best for Webflow sites, or what about the others?
I always prefer to pick the Waveflow one because it's much easier. Like you just have to overwrite the components, overwrite the text, and replace the images and even the URLs and all. So I think I personally prefer the native localization compared to other third party. But sometimes if the site is very large and I just don't want to do the work. I just tell them to like you can like if they have any internal tool, just use that. So it
Yeah.
just saves my time as well. So
But isn't
yeah.
there okay, I do not know this from my experience, but isn't there like integrations for those translation services or software that you can like bring kind of import or export and import the translations to Webflow localize? Do you know anything about those?
Yeah, we call it puff.j file. So it's like a JSON file, and you have to share it with their marketing team. They will fill those puff.j files and all the content, and then using the Webflow API, you can import those as a localization as well. So I was not aware about this thing until we worked with Amazon team. They are about to do a global website, and they are planning to add like multiple locales. And first of all, I had to share the puff.j file with them, a template with them with the English content, and their content team will review it. Their translation team will review it, and then they will send me back the puff.j file, and I can bulk import it using Webflow API. So this is a very cool thing I got to learn recently, and I will
Yeah.
recommend other developers as well to use this technique.
Totally, totally. And if I remember correctly, there's some new user roles so that you can like define like user rights for just specific locales. So if you have a translator,
Hmm.
he or she just has the access to that one specific local. So that's handy too.
I was not aware about this. I think you're talking about granular permissions, right? Where you can
Yeah.
granular doors where you can. So I think it's on enterprise, and maybe I have not explored this feature with any of my clients. But cool to know that as
Yeah.
well.
All the features come first to enterprise, but hopefully someday for us mortals, so to speak. Yeah. Actually, about the enterprise things, we talked about sales, but I wanted to ask you, does like the Webflow team or Webflow salespersons ever aid you with the sales process? Are they with you on the call or anything like that?
Yes, actually, multiple times. So their sales team is very collaborative and very helpful. They will assign you a. So the moment you become an enterprise partner, they will assign you a partner manager. And right now, recently, I have been assigned a Asia Pacific region partner manager, and he's very new. So we go on a call with them, we plan some stuff, and whenever I submit an enterprise lead, he will review it and he will assign a account. I will say account manager or a sales SDR. So I will be assigned that. I will communicate with them. We will co partner on this to make sure that the sale happens, that we win we both win this deal, and they will share you a deck. They will share you every information you need, and they will also share you the permission. They will also share you all the features. which we are going to upsell to the client. So very collaborative experience. And so far, I have not closed many deals, but the experience is very, very great. And I learned a lot from their team as well on how they try to prepare the proposal and how they partner with us to do this deal together.
Yeah, that is good.
Just so to all the developers, if you are getting an enterprise client, definitely apply it through the partner stack or reach out to any Webflow team, whoever is the closest, or anyone, and they will definitely connect you with the sales team, and the deal will become even easier for you to close.
Totally. And have you seen the pricing changes and specifically the team plan, the weird new plan between like the normal plans and the enterprise plans? Do you have any opinions on that?
I think already we got a lot of opinions on the internet. People are like bashing. I think this is because we are too emotional with Webflow. Compared to any other tool, we are just very emotional with Webflow because this is something which has given us the opportunity to work and make money. So people are very much obsessed with this platform, and specifically developers who have been from very early. So definitely this pricing changes sometimes hurts, but we as a business owners or as a normal person, we have to understand that every business has to make changes in their pricing. They also have to update their pricing. They also have to, just like how we upgrade our rates, definitely the other company will do the same as well, right? So this is like, you can call it inflation. You can call it like the platform is maturing a lot. And if for every founder, for every company, the goal is enterprise. Let's be honest. Even for us as well. I started from working with the small clients, but eventually we want to work with the large companies, the large logos. And you cannot sell your product, you cannot downsell your product, such a strong product, to a big, large enterprise company, right? And it will be not fair as well. You are selling the same product, same thing to a small client, so to a small company, and the same product has been priced 10x to a larger company. So I think this is not fair to any like the larger company, right? So this is the reason why pricing is very hard, and specifically with tool like Webflow, where people are emotionally so much invested. They use it daily, 8 hours, 10 hours, and they have to upsell Webflow to their clients. They have to convince their clients that yes, it's worth paying for this add-on. Yes, it's worth paying for this feature. So definitely, I think this is something which we both have to understand as a developer and as an agency. Everyone has to understand this. But if I have to say one negative thing about this is that the bandwidth changes are a bit harsh. I think everything else is okay, good, but the bandwidth changes are a bit harsh, I will say. I think Webflow should maybe rethink about the bandwidth things, because a lot of the platforms, if you see the competitors, they provide some generous bandwidth, specifically the headless ones. So
Oh, yeah.
I think if you remember, I remember 2 years ago, we were getting on the business plan, we were getting the bandwidth around 400 gigabytes, and now we are getting the on the same price around 50 gigabytes or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very big, I will say, price increase in terms of bandwidth. And you
Yeah.
will easily exhaust 50 gigabytes if you are a serious business owner, and if you are getting like really good traffic. So I think Webflow should reconsider in terms of the bandwidth changes. Everything, I mean, people will eventually adjust.
Yeah. I wonder if that is due to all the AI stuff and chips being pricey and so on. Maybe I do not know too much
No,
about
no, no. It's
that,
not.
like the
It is not.
infrastructure.
It's not because of that. Bandwidth, I think Cloudflare provides more bandwidth in a free plan compared to this one. So definitely, I will say it's not because of that. It's just that Webflow maybe wants to make some good money from sites who are doing well. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's fair. It's fair. I mean, they have built a platform after so long working. They have a team, but I also feel like it's a bit on the harsher side. I think they can be little generous in terms of the bandwidth. That's the only feedback.
Yeah. And I usually do not bump into the bandwidth for most of my clients. It is just like $1 or $2 increase. So that is not too bad. That's just like, as you said, like inflation. Like Webflow is not the worst when it comes to pricing. So that's
Yeah.
still good.
If you go and see Adobe or Sanity or every other tool, they are like super
Oh
expensive.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the enterprise level, those alternatives are they they are super
Yeah.
expensive. But what about Framer? I know that Flowtrix is a Framer partner too. So what do you think is the main differentiator, and how do you decide which platform to choose for your client?
So I think for me, it's very obvious. I can easily tell which project need Webflow and which projects need Framework. Because in terms of Framework, I have used the tool, and we recently actually became a partner for them, and we are also connected with their enterprise team as well. So how to pick a project, right? Or in terms of you have to use Webflow or Framework. So whenever a project is more than 10 or 15 pages, and it has like a templatic style, and also the client is going to do invest in a lot of SEO work and content work, and the site has little less animation as well, like very mild animations, just like how B2B sites have. So just go with Webflow. It's very easy to use, scale. You can have a lot of pages, you can use the reuse components, and SEO is really really good in Webflow compared to Framer, because Framer initially started as a prototype builder, and then eventually they evolved as a web builder, and then now they are competing with Figma as well. So I feel like Framer, if you have a small site, a relatively small site, and it has a lot of animations, lot of detailing and experience, sometimes you make sites which showcase experiences. So definitely I feel for that kind of projects, go with Framer, because you will get a lot of creative freedom. You will be able to animate the whole animation thing is much easier in Framer compared to Webflow. I have tried both, and I realized that Framer is much easier for designers also and developers as well to create animations. So smaller sites with good animations, go with Framer. Larger sites, complex sites, B2B sites, lots of integration, SEO, just Webflow is the no-brainer for this situation as of now in this market.
Yeah. I didn't know that Framer has a enterprise team in hindsight. Yeah, of course they have. But how does Framer like work for enterprises?
I actually have not worked too much of enterprise in terms of Framework. They actually reached out to me as an agency program, and they gave me like the free Framework account. So I have a free Framework account. I can make as many sites as want for personal and for personal use. And if I'm using for clients, definitely they will have to pay. And in this program, the main goal was to transition from definitely other tools like Webflow and other tools like headless CMS, and move all of my clients to Framework. I got an enterprise lead. I was about to close the project, but eventually they backed out and they decided to do it in house. So that's the whole story for a Framework project. But apart from that, I have done some small projects. And in terms of enterprise clients, they have some really good enterprise clients. They have like Perplexity, Tesla, those are all in Framer. If you go
That's
and check their
interesting.
enterprise page, they have like a lot of enterprise clients, and Framer is actually pretty much expensive compared to Webflow. So
What do you mean?
in terms of bandwidth, if you compare the pricing plans, right, and if you go in detail, you will realize Framer is even less generous in terms of bandwidth compared to
Yeah.
Webflow. So so it's also one of the thing you have to be inconsiderate. So what we do is that we host our videos and images in a different CDN when we do projects in Framework, so that we don't end up hitting that bandwidth limit.
Okay. I have to ask. Everybody in the audience will hate me if I do not ask which platform or host you use for the videos.
I personally using Flow Drive. It's built by the famous Manuel in the industry. He's very famous in the Webflow industry, and he actually gave me a big discount when I was like his first 100 customers, and he gave me an unlimited plan. So
That's nice.
with a one-time pricing. So I'm just using that as of now. But if you want to use alternatives, I will suggest Bunny CDN. It's very cheap, very very cheap. I'm using it for a couple of my clients who don't want the files to be hosted for inside my Flow Drive. So for them, we are using Bunny CDN. It's very very cheap.
Nice. Okay, how about we move on to the topic of AI, the topic that we always have to ask or talk about on every episode in this show, and it feels like on every other show too. This wasn't supposed to be an AI podcast, but I kind of have to visit the topic. Or how do you see AI, and do you think that it will disrupt the agency business or your business or our business?
I mean, if you open Twitter, you will already feel that you are dead. This Twitter Twitter post there just keeps
Mm,
claiming that agencies dead, designers are dead, developers are dead. But here we are still alive, surviving. And I think this is how we will continue to. We will evolve. We will try to use those tools and eventually make our work much faster. So earlier it was taking like if a website will take around 4 months or 3 months, now it's taking like 2 months or 1.5 months. Relatively, the work timing is getting less, and yes, the price might be cheaper, but you're also getting the money very fast compared to waiting 4 months, phase by phase work. You're doing phase by phase work, and then you're getting those invoices so late. Now you can speeden up the work. You will be able to ship a website much faster, and you can still charge the same, or even if you charge less, you will be able to do more projects in every single month. So from sales perspective, it's definitely helpful. And if you ask me from creative perspective, yes, we are using a lot of tools to create videos, stock images. I think we recently used for a client called chatlabs.com. Like the images are so good. Like every image is like in 4K quality, and it just enhances the website look. So definitely we are using AI for design and all those imagery, all those prototype. I think Figma Make has been really helpful as well to create those first prototypes. And I also remember those graphics, right? The SaaS, since we do a lot of B2B SaaS projects. So those graphics were very hard to pull off. And sometimes we have to
yeah.
like manually design it, spend so much time in designing those micro graphics. Now I can just take a screenshot, put it in Figma Make. It will design a full graphic for me in Figma, and it will give me a Figma file as well. I can copy and paste and I can edit it as well. So it's just so easy. So my designers are using these techniques. My designers are actually building internal tools to create a few shader elements, to create few how do I say this, few background images with graphs and all. So it's very cool. And in terms of development, I feel like Webflow is the bottleneck. I have like some opinions on this. So I have tried multiple tools to develop a website. We have used Figma MCP, and it's so fast, right? When you build a site from Cursor or Claude, it's just super fast. You get the code, you can host it anywhere. But in terms of Webflow right now, I have tried the MCP, but you usually end up exhausting all those credits, and it's still not up to the mark. So I think here is a very controversial take. I feel like this might become a bottleneck if Webflow will not work on it. I assume they are working on it. I don't know how they will do it, but Figma to Webflow transition or Figma to a website transition is much easier in a Cursor or Claude in custom code compared to Webflow. I can do it in one single day. I mean, in 30 minutes, I can go and just paste the Figma MCP URL and I can optimize the site. But if you're doing it for Webflow, you have to first build the component structure, entire
Hmm.
page, and then of course there are some advantages in Webflow because you can scale it very fast. But I still feel this is becoming a bottleneck, and this is the reason why I'm building on headless CMS internally. So this is like a product I'm building internally so that my designers can work on the creative part. They can do the design. They can give a Figma handoff as well. But when it comes to development, there are few clients who doesn't have a preference. They don't like to prefer anything. Like they don't want to be in Webflow, or they don't have any opinion about any development tool. In those
Yeah.
situations, I can use this tool. I can use my own internal CMS. I'm trying to build a headless CMS where you can deploy the code and it will give you a very simple editorial view and you can edit all the content. The reason, because all the headless CMS which we have in the market right now, let's say Sanity, Payload, or Strapi, etc., all of them are developer focused. None of them are marketer focused. There is one maybe who is like Storyblock, but it's still very bad UI UX, I will say. So I want to build a very simple CMS just to edit content, create blog, create case studies, change some logos, change some copy. This is my simple goal because I have realized after working so long that yes, we use Webflow so that the client can take the ownership, but the client will never take the ownership. If he touches the file,
Yeah.
then if he touches the file, it will get corrupted. So it is always developer dependent only. And specifically in enterprise sites, no way a marketer is going to open the designer mode and try to create a page. He or she doesn't have a time to do that. He will either hire an in-house developer or either he will just partner with a retailer's Webflow retailer. So I have realized this thing that Webflow is not making or helping here anyway. We are already Webflow developer dependent. So the only thing which client takes ownership is content. They will change the copy, they will write blog, they will write case studies, or they will sometimes maybe change logos, or they will add some team members. That's it. So basically the CMS stuff. So this is the reason why I'm trying to build a CMS, so that they don't have to do any vendor lock into Webflow or any other tool. And it's not like I'm leaving Webflow. Of course, I love this platform, and I'm not trying to compete with them directly. It's just that there are some clients, and sometimes you don't honestly need Webflow or a framework. We just need a basic CMS where the client can edit stuff and stuff like that. So I'm trying to build this tool. It is called as Better CMS, Better CMS.
Nice.
I will be launching it maybe in the next 2 months or in the next 1 month, and it will be in a closed beta. I will try to work with a bunch of few developers. You are also welcome. Please use that.
Beautiful.
And yeah, and it will be very easy to use. I'm trying to build it fully MCP optimized. So you can just open Claude, you can create page, you can deploy it, you can edit content. I don't want to add anything like manual, like too much of manual work. Although I will still give the manual work option because I don't want you to spend so much of credits for basic stuff. But definitely, this is the vision. I'm trying to build a tool for my own clients, and then I will try it with some of my developer friend community. And if it works out really well, then I might actually make it a public app eventually. It's a long journey.
Beautiful.
I'm just trying to check because I have a very habit of building few small apps. If you see, I also build a app called Flowtrix schema app, and it was a free
Yeah.
app with the community. And I think more than 5,000 sites have installed that app. I was like, wow. And it was a free app, but eventually Airflow released the native feature. I felt like I am a visionary. I built a feature which is coming so much in use today in terms of AI. Everyone is now adding schema. Everyone is obsessed with FAQ schema, etc., etc. And now it's like a mainstream word in the buzzword in terms of AEO, and SEO. So I feel like 2 years ago I built this application, and now it's coming very handy for a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. There was a lot of stuff there. So firstly, some comments. Webflow MCP, not great yet. Hopefully in the future it will be. The CMS is powerful, like Webflow CMS is powerful, and the build mode, it is also powerful, but they, as you said, I'm with you, like they are not like marketer friendly. So there is a total use case for your CMS solution. But if there are people who are not familiar or do not have experience with headless CMS, how do you like integrate that to Webflow? Does it always go through a Webflow app, and do you have some sort of interface for it on some browser app, or how do you do that?
So basically, we will completely remove the need for any other CMS tool. You just need Figma file, and then you can either hire a developer, any CMS developer. He will know this, or I'm planning to build a migrator tool as well, where you just paste your link. It will take your entire website code and convert it to Astro. I think I will be using Astro and Next.js for the headless sites. And once that is done, the tool will automatically configure everything for you. And we will just give you the chat option. You can just chat and edit stuff. You can draw some stuff and then edit as well, just like you see in Claude. And again, the question where you are asking that how I am going to make it more marketer friendly is because it's mostly because of the UI UX play. I think it will be a big UI UX play. I will have to make it very less scary compared to what other platforms are. And nowadays, people are already using Claude so much. So I feel like you can just install the app which I'm going to build for Claude, or you can just use the SDK or CLI, and you can just prompt it. Just prompt everything, and it will keep doing all those changes. It will create all the schema, CMS, all the databases which will be required. So I honestly don't have full 100% clarity on how exactly it will come out because I'm still in the building phase of the MVP. But I have a very genuine feeling that I'm going to make it very, very easy to use so that any marketer can use it. And again, I feel like I will not claim that it is again a developer free website, because I feel like there will be always a developer. We are not losing out our jobs. Marketers have a lot of tasks to do than managing the website. So definitely no scarcity of jobs in terms of handling website or anything. There will be definitely a full-time developer or they will be a part-time developer or a contractor, at least for the development of the site. So he or she will develop the site, and for the editing and content, definitely we will do the UI UX for it and make it much more simpler than what Webflow is right now. I feel at this point, Webflow is a bit more like, I will say, like they are adding so many of the features, even in the marketer mode. I feel it might feel a bit overwhelming for a simple site.
Oh,
Definitely,
totally.
definitely, I'm not aiming right now for enterprise sites. Enterprise sites, I will still use Webflow, but for the smaller sites, I will right now try to use my internal CMS, test it out with them, and then eventually, if things goes very right and we find our market fit, I will definitely try to go the same enterprise route as well.
Yeah, yeah. And what is your like build process for that CMS? How long are you with that? And do you have any help, or are you just alone, like developing that on your spare time, evenings and weekends? So how do you how do you find the time to build that?
Honestly, this idea came 1.5 months ago. Not very, like, it's not long. So 1.5 months ago, I was like I'm just pissed off, and I'm just not able to do few stuff which I wanted to do through Webflow. So I randomly went to Cloud Code and just vibe coded the entire thing. And luckily, I had the domain name as well. I don't know why I took this domain name. I always had the idea to build a Notion like CMS, but this idea was to integrate it with Webflow so that people can easily get a simpler editor like Notion and edit and add their blogs. It will be synced with Webflow or framework. I was planning to build a plugin, but eventually now, since Cloud Code is so powerful, it let me build the entire thing for me. So I built this idea, and then luckily I have some really good developer friends and the community. And since I also have like internal development team as well, so I pick one developer from there and one developer from my friend community, and we three are building this tool. And eventually, once the MVP is out, I will definitely share, or maybe we can do another podcast regarding that. And I will love to explain how to use this for your future sites. I feel like I'm trying to build for the future sites, and definitely future will be more of AI,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to give that freedom and flexibility. And the reason why Webflow is not able to do it so fast, because Webflow was built so long years ago, and all the traditional code, all the technical debt, they are trying to they're trying to like update all those codes as far as what I have seen. So it will take a bit of time and a lot of testing for a company like Webflow. I'm
Totally.
starting from, whereas for me, I'm starting from today, right? So today I have like all the modern technologies. I know what to do, what not to do. Although a lot of learnings, definitely I will need a lot of learnings. I will learn in the path as well. But I still feel some really good third party tech stack has come in the market, and we are trying to utilize them to get our job done. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure. This idea might be completely flop as well, but I just want to take a bet. I love Flowtrix. I love building sites for companies as a. But I feel like if you can own the website as well, like in terms of development and the entire vendor, so I think it will give me a bigger grip with the client, that I am building the site, I'm
Mm-hmm.
designing the site, and I'm owning the site as well. So definitely, it's going to help me a lot. But also, it sounds very scary. What if the site is down and the client is like,
Yeah.
why so scary? There is a very scary thing as well, because this is not like a normal product. It's like a website. Imagine a site goes down and so much of comments get to see in Twitter, and so much of backlash we get to see in Twitter about Webflow or Cloudflare. And the same happens with me. I am actually a bit scared about this, but I'm also very confident that that's the reason why I'm trying to spend a lot of time in the infrastructure and the backend, so that uh, we don't have end up just the same like how sometimes happens with Webflow or Framer. They go down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Although it's not in your fully in your hands, but again, it can happen to anyone.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I'm always feeling bad for. I know that there is a guy who is tirelessly trying to fix everything. I always feel
Yeah.
bad for that. But yeah, the case of like static sites, I know that people are building static sites with Claude and having some success with that. And I have had some guests on the show that are thinking that that might be a good alternative to Webflow. And it's an interesting case. Obviously, Webflow has some features and things going for it, have been building the site and the app for so long. So that counts for something. And they have the control, and you do not have to be a developer. Although, as we talked, Webflow itself is not too marketer friendly, so it's kind of in the same realm. But do you think that there's a possibility that all the AI stuff will get so good that everybody is just like doing static sites with AI?
No, I feel like if you go to the enterprise route, once a developer starts developing for enterprise route, they will realize that no, you cannot replace these CMSs, at least as of now, because there is so much of things happening behind a large enterprise migration. There are so many stakeholders. You have to take so much of testing. I cannot imagine like with Amazon, right? I had to we have to self-host the site for few clients. We have to use custom hosting. We have to build the front end in Webflow, share the code. Sometimes you have to use a different app, third party app, and also there are so many API integrations and all. So I feel like in this kind of situation where you are doing a very large website migration and a very serious one, definitely Adobe or Webflow, this they will still remain the most preferred partner, specifically because of the trust they have gained in the industry. And even WordPress also has I think WP Engine Enterprise. So a lot of clients use that as well. So I think they cannot move to simple static sites, just like how a small startup can do that. So definitely no. I don't see that happening for larger companies. But for smaller companies and mid-sized companies, definitely yes. They are going to wipe code their entire website. They are going to fuck their website as well. They are going to learn a lot of things about AI,
Yeah.
and then eventually they will. Eventually, they are going with a much smoother platform like Sanity, Webflow. So
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's very fun. Even with my website, I really want to like wipe code and do some crazy shit. But since I'm already getting some really good SEO benefits, I am not able to do that. I don't want to. I don't want to ruin anything. Whatever is going very well. So I don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah. I feel that people are right now going with the vibe coded side just like because of the speed of building. It's so fast to whip up a site. But if Webflow could address that issue, like somehow solve that with the MCP or something else, so that it would be at least somewhat as fast to build a site with Webflow as in with those vibe coding tools, that would like be a huge win for Webflow. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, I think definitely if you can, and I think they will do it. They will definitely try to match what are the current requirements for people because as you have seen, right, they are slow. I will say they are slow, and there are many reasons for that because they are now a large company. But they will definitely fight back and try to build all those cool features. I'm actually a part of like beta group, and I just keep seeing all the cool stuff happening inside Webflow Labs team. And I feel I cannot speak too much about it. I've signed an NDA for this, but I am very very optimistic about these things. Like they are going to definitely build some really cool stuff. They are going to add all those features which people are demanding. But one thing I'm not sure about is about the bandwidth and pricing. I think this is something it's not going to come down. It is only going to go up. You are only going to spend a lot of money in AI credits and all. And you cannot expect now from a company like Webflow, they will come down and give you everything for very much less money. So this is the only thing that you have to spend a bit more. Whereas if you try to build it from your own in Cursor, you will end up saving a good amount of money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was this AI credit thing for Webflow with the pricing increase. Now there's some Webflow AI credits in the workplace plans, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen yet on my workspace, but I guess they are somewhere there, and you might end up buying more of those at some point.
Yeah, and they have actually added the Webflow AI credits thing. Yesterday I was like opening the dashboard and I saw something like usage. I clicked on it and then I saw okay, so there is where they have added it. All the AI now we have to be accountable for all the AI credits we are spending. Fun fact is that I have barely used Webflow AI, barely used Webflow AI to build stuff. I mean, why will I use that? Most of my work is getting done through cloud, and also very I have used barely the internal Webflow API, AI. But I know there might be some people who are like playing around with their CMS, trying to build some cool calculator, some cool tools. So maybe them
Yeah.
they
Yeah, there are not too many like features. Well, there's the AI components, the app gen. I believe that's still in beta. Well, the schema, and meta description generation stuff. I do not know if those take take out the credits. But there's not too many things, so this might be an indicator that something bigger is coming. I'm hopeful. I guess
are.
that Webflow kind of has to do something bigger with AI.
Yeah, I think they might
Yeah,
do the lovable kind of thing. I mean, they will try to build something like lovable. That's my guess.
yeah. Lovable is interesting because people are like doing websites with Lovable, but it's obviously better for like apps like web apps and such. It might be in my head, but I feel that people kind of mix those use cases. Like those maybe should still be in separate like environments or apps. Like if you have a app builder, that should be good for building apps. But if you have a website builder, that should be good for building HTML and CSS and so on. So yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know what it
yeah. I think
what
it's
the
very
future
interesting.
holds.
Very interesting. They're trying to give all the things which are required to build an app as well. So they're trying to merge both the website and the app thing, which I think Lovable is struggling to do that because Lovable didn't have all the infrastructure, whereas Webflow has all those laid out very well over the years. So they just need
Oh
to
yeah,
add all those features on top of that. So I think Webflow has a big advantage. Other advantage is that you can host the same app in the same domain as well. So it's
mm,
also the ease of hosting those apps in the same domain. There are few advantages definitely. But again, it will come up to the cost. If you host it in your Cloudflare, it will be cheaper. If you host it in Webflow, it is going to create a huge amount of it might if you are getting a lot of traffic, it might create a big deal in terms of bandwidth charges.
yeah. But then again, it might be peanuts to the company if it's a big enough
Definitely.
company. And if there is some other like stuff that you are doing with Webflow, it helps you in some other way that could be a reasonable cost. But okay,
Agree.
I still want to ask you about about Flowtrix and how are you preparing for the future with Flowtrix? Are you developing anything else than the CMS thing regarding to the AI stuff? Are you like thinking of adding services or doing something else for the future?
No, no, man. Honestly, I'm trying to double down on things which we are really good at, which is design. I think we are really good at design, creativity, and as a team, we are a very fun team. We are very young. Like all of us are like Gen Z, and like we are very chill. So if you see the corporate culture in India, and then the culture we have in our company, it's very different. We try to operate as a global company and fully remote team. So the only thing we are investing is that we are trying to reduce the amount of time which we are spending for a task. So we're trying to optimize that a lot in certain areas. For example, migration, content writing, or SEO, or you can say in terms of design. I already mentioned that I'm trying to my designers are trying to build some quick tools to generate images, cool graphics, so that they don't have to manually do that. So I think in this situation we are optimizing a lot, trying to save a lot of time and trying to reduce the launch time. So if your project will take 3 months, I'm trying to make it 2 months at least. And hopefully after my CMS is done, I will be able to reduce a lot of time because I know Webflow development takes a lot of time currently. You have to spend a good amount of time. Whereas if you are doing it like a custom code, you get a lot of time to, like, you don't spend too much time in the translation from design to development. You spend too much time on integrations and the optimizations and here and there. So
Yeah.
right now, Webflow is becoming the bottleneck for us to design and then develop them manually. This is the only bottleneck I'm trying to solve. So yeah, this is my honest answer.
Yeah, hopefully Webflow solves that. And the good thing of doing stuff faster is also that you can like increase the quality of the project also if you do the basic stuff faster. That's cool too. Like more options for that. But you mentioned the business culture. I believe most of the listeners are not familiar with the business culture in India. How do you see that? And what about like Webflow culture in India? How do you see those?
In terms of India, I think we have a lot of Webflow developers. I mean, when I was starting my journey in entire website development and freelancing, there were like very limited number of developers, and we all knew somehow each other. But now I think almost we have, I think the very big amount of developers are coming from India. And it's like it's not that difficult to learn. The learning curve has also decreased. People have also like good courses nowadays. In terms of developers, we have a good community here. Although we don't do too much of events. I am from Bangalore right now, and in Bangalore we have like a very limited number of events. And specifically in terms of Webflow, I will say we used to have those events, but nowadays like negligible. I would say like none. But in terms of Gujarat, there is another state in India, Gujarat. They have like a good decent community, and they are organizing some really good events. So one of my teammate from my Flowtrix team represented it recently on that event, and they are hosting it on the Webflow community website as well. So it's like an official meetup, and they are getting very some sponsorship from Webflow as well to host these events, which is really great. I think compared to Figma designers or framework designers, Webflow community is a bit smaller, and it's a very niche in the industry, specifically
Yeah.
in India as well. So I think we all should like talk together, share tips, and form a community because life is like very very short. Why not just in share all those learnings, have fun? So I think this is something which we have to work more on in terms of community events. I will try to see if I can organize few community events this year. Specifically, we do one community event on the Webflow conference day. Like we try to do a watch
Yeah.
party. We try to do a watch party. From the last 2 years, I have been going to Webflow conference directly, like flying to
Nice.
America, but here in this Bangalore city and even in from Gujarat, like in cities from Gujarat, they organize these events, and I think it's very very fun. I have been part of one, and it was really really nice. And we were like applauding, like wow, GSEP is acquired by
Oh,
Webflow.
yeah.
Those times. So pre AI, I would say pre AI times where it was very hard to do GSEP animations and all. So at those moments, they were really really fun. So I miss those moments a lot. Nowadays, it's like I feel like the culture is somehow dying. People are migrating to different CMS framework, custom code. So and Webflow is becoming like a very serious set of like for a very serious set of developers. Only enterprise or only serious businesses are trying to use Webflow, and I think this is why we are turning a bit boring. We are not sharing too much of work. People, and whereas if you compare to other communities like designers, they keep sharing some cool stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
design in ChatGPT or stuff. But we Webflow folks are like just boring, like just share the site once it's done. So I think we have to work as a community. We have to make it fun. And moreover, a message to Webflow, I feel like Webflow has also decreased a lot of amount of stuff they were investing in terms of community. Now we don't see those videos. We don't see those fun tutorials. We don't see those live streams. I think the engagement has decreased a lot in terms of this community and from Webflow as well. I feel like Webflow should lead this. Earlier, it was very fun. Earlier, we used to do some really, really cool stuff. Nowadays, it's like all boring stuff, all the AI rubbish stuff. Keep, we're just like keep seeing again and again, again and again. So somehow I feel like this is an area where we all have to come together and try to share more stuff, more cooler stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
these are my thoughts.
That is so true. I'm with you on the same boat with all of those. Obviously, there's like a lot of variables in this. There's all this hype around AI, like the attention goes there. The Webflow as a platform is more like serious, more complex. It's not the cool new tool that designers can just whip up a site. It's more
Yeah.
towards the enterprise clients and so on. And as you mentioned, there has been changes within Webflow. I kind of feel that they know this and they are trying to fix it because they revamped the Global Leaders program. They have funding for those meetups. and other stuff, and there's the new community platform. But at the end of the day, I believe it's more about like us, the community members. If we do not do cool stuff, and if we do not like post about the cool stuff, it's just gonna go downhill from here. We do
Yeah.
really have the responsibility to do some.
Yeah, I think we all have to come together and again make this community. But although I don't have too much hopes, but I still have few hopes. So let's see what happens. And I think that's maybe the lifeline of a product. And it's been a long while where we are working with Webflow. And there are very few companies who have like made this work. For example, Shopify and Figma, they have still really, really loyal users. If you see Figma, I know there is a tool called Paper, which is out, which is also very cool.
Yeah.
But I feel still people will not be able to get out from Figma because they keep doing cool stuff. They keep adding those AI features. They keep trying to add those features very, very fast compared to any other enterprise tool in the market. So kudos to them.
Yeah, that is actually true. I haven't thought about it, but there are a lot of like small and big features that have come out from Figma, and there's more like excitement about that. Obviously, like the Figma sites is not not a great tool
Yeah.
for us, but it is still exciting. I remember when it was launched and so on. So
But they have
yeah, they are
acquired,
doing something
but
right.
they have acquired Payload. They have acquired Payload and Payload CMS. So they will be launching their CMS, which is very interesting to see like how they are going to launch a CMS inside Figma this year. So it's like a lot of CMSs to play around and test, including mine. So let's see how it goes. Personally, I think like it will be a good feature to add on, but no one is going to maintain their website in Figma. I just have a feeling that I will not personally like to maintain my marketing website in Figma.
Yeah, totally. And I wonder how Figma will like how it will like perform in the future. As you mentioned, the paper, and I believe there's some
Yeah.
other design tools that are kind of more like development ready, or if I understand correctly, they are
Even
like
Framer, even Framer is coming
yeah,
with their own design.
yeah. And if there could be a design tool that kind of like produces a development ready code or components, that would be obviously a big change, and that might be so big change that people would be willing to try out some new tool. And I wonder if Figma is planning to do something like that or aware of this possible future. But yeah, that is a crystal ball ball thing, like trying to predict the future. Okay, Himanshu. At some point, I have to let you go. But do you have anything to add about Flowtrix, Webflow, AI, the CMS stuff for the listeners?
I think personally, I have a message to all the developers. All the developers listening to this, I assume that you will have a Webflow audience. So my message will be that please start learning custom code. Try to learn how to use Cursor, how to use Claude, and just don't be dependent on one single tool. And try to add all those skill sets, which where you can make a site without Webflow. For example, you can use Astro, you can use Next.js, you can use the headless CMS, no matter what CMS you choose. But please try to learn these skills because you never know the future. And as we are evolving, I personally feel like the market will shrink up a lot, and the need for a Webflow developer might be little less, and the need for a developer who is full stack might increase a lot. Who knows custom code, who knows animation, who can handle any shit you give him, and he can do that. So full stack developer will we will see a big rise of demand compared to just a Webflow developer. So this is the message I will share with all my Webflow friends because I have been into this and I have started my own company. Eventually, I'm very lucky in this few stages. But I know that there are some people who might feel the injustice because they are starting it right now in a very difficult state of world. So this is the only message I will give them. Please upskill yourself with all those extra elements you can learn.
Beautiful. That's a great closing thought. And if there's people who wanna follow you, message you, or contact you, where should they go?
I think LinkedIn is the best place. I am active on LinkedIn. I am active on Twitter as well. So LinkedIn and Twitter, you can please DM me. And if you are looking for a website partner, if you're looking to partner, so definitely you can just go to flowtrix.co. This is the website. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I will obviously put all the relevant links in the description. But there's
Definitely.
one last thing for the dedicated listeners. So this is a weird last section I have on the show. Do you have any idea what it could be about?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, this is a weird Finnish thing. I will explain, but this is beautiful because this comes as a surprise. So what follows is that I will give you a Finnish saying and I will translate that to English. And your job is to guess what it means. Simple as
Okay.
that. Is that clear?
Okay. It sounds very interesting, but let's see.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta say this might be a tough one. So in Finnish, the saying is karvalakkimalli, and in English, it basically means fur hat model. So like a very very warm hat model, and it would be used in a sentence like, okay, this website is a very fur hat model. So what does that mean? What kind of website would that be?
Okay. So you mean fur is like the normal fur which we have, and then for hats,
Yeah.
hat is
Is
like
it-
actual hat?
Yeah. Fur hats in Finland, we have like very cold
Fur.
winters, so we have those very furry, very warm hats. So that kind of hat and model combined to that.
Okay. Model, like you mean the actual, like a model, 3D model kind of thing, or like?
It's like a car model or
Okay.
a
Got it.
laptop model or some kind of model.
Got it. Is this mean like something very, very heavy and like something like very heavy?
That's a good guess. Good guess. But that's not right. Do you want to have another try?
Okay, give me one more chance. 1 second. So, fur hat model, right? So it might be. Can you give me one more example, English example? This example was not that great or helpful at all.
Yeah. Maybe the most popular example would be a car. Like my car is a fur hat model.
Okay, so it can be like the most heaviest and most trendy and coolest and the most famous one, I guess. So the website will be like the most trendy one, something like this. Like
That's another beautiful guess, but it's actually the opposite of that. Like
shit.
yeah, it's like the most basic model you can get, like no
Shit.
bells and whistles, like just the bare minimum for the car,
Okay.
for the website, for your laptop or whatever. I do not
Damn.
know what's the logic behind that. There's weird logic with these sayings.
I had a feeling like it's like most sizzling red hot car, most sizzling red hot feeling. But it came out to be the completely opposite. But great, I learned something today.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can go and say that to your coworkers, see all the puzzled faces.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'll just have to do. But okay, Himanshu, thanks so much for being a guest, and for all the listeners and watchers, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.